Good morning and welcome to Africa Good Morning, a show that keeps you abreast with the latest happenings across the continent and beyond every weekday morning. In today's broadcast, more senior Democrats privately urge Biden to step aside. South Africa, nearly 1,000 homes in Cape Town destroyed by the storm, and U.S. troops leave Niger base. Germany says it would also end its operation in Niamey. You can follow all our programs on our website, which is called oneup2.com, or DSTV 285 or GoTV 25 in Namibia. After the break, we bring you our top stories. Stay with us.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
In our top stories this morning, more senior Democrats privately urge Biden to step aside. Several more senior members of President Joe Biden's Democratic Party have privately joined calls for him to hand over his candidacy for November's election to another candidate, U.S. media reports. During a group call with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, 4 congressmen were explicit in urging Biden to step aside, according to outlets including the BBC's U.S. partner CBC News. The quartet were joined by others who voiced concerns about Biden's fitness for office after a recent stumbling debate performance, but stopped short of asking the president to clear the way. CBC added, Biden has vowed to fight on and has retained the support of other Democrats who insist he is the man to beat Donald Trump in November's votes. A scrutiny of Biden's candidacy is expected to intensify on Monday with the return of lawmaker to Capitol Hill. The president will also be in the spotlight in the days ahead as he hosts a summit in Washington for leaders of NATO countries. American media reports slightly diverge on which Democratic representative said what during the private conversation with Jeffries on Sunday. Jerry Nadler, Marco Tanaka, and Adam Smith all said Biden should step aside, according to multiple outlets, citing people on the call or familiar with what was said. Joe Morrell added his voice, according to CBC and the New York Times, but the Associated Press said that the 4th person was James Himes. Now moving over to our next story. In South Africa, nearly 1,000 homes in Cape Town are destroyed by a storm. Nearly 1,000 homes in informal settlements in Cape Town, South Africa, have been destroyed by gale force winds, displacing 4,000 people, authorities and aid organizations said, as the city braces for a week of damaging storms. South African weather authorities said Monday that Cape Town and surrounding areas are expected to be hit by multiple cold fronts until at least Friday, bringing torrential rain, strong winds and flooding. Cape Town's disaster coordination team has been on alert since the first front arrived last Thursday. The worst hit areas are expected to be the poor informal settlements on the edge of South Africa's second biggest city. Moving over to our next story, as U.S. troops leave Niger base, Germany says it would also end its operation in Niamey. U.S. troops have completed a withdrawal from the base in Niger's capital of Niamey and will fully depart from Agadez in the north before a September 15 deadline set by the country's military rulers. Both countries said on Sunday Niger's military leaders scrapped a military cooperation deal with Washington in March after seizing power in July 2023 coup. The United States had around 650 soldiers in Niger as part of the anti-jihadist mission in several Sahel nations of West Africa, including a major drone based near Agadez. The Defense Ministry of Niger and the U.S. Defense Department announced the withdrawal of American forces and equipment from Niamey Base 101 which is now completed, the two countries said in a statement. A final flight carrying U.S. troops was due to leave Niamey last Sunday. The U.S. presence has stood at around 950 troops. 766 soldiers have left Niger since the military ordered their departure. AFP learned at a ceremony at the base attended by Niger's Army Chief of Staff Maman Sani and U.S. General Kenneth Akem. In our next story, 83 patients evacuated after fire breakout at Free State Hospital. The Free State Department of Health has evacuated 83 patients from the National District Hospital after a fire broke out on Sunday afternoon. According to the department spokesperson Modley Vambi, the fire started from outside the pediatric ward and caught the tree. Then it spread to the first floor and the second floor of the hospital. This led to smoke spreading throughout the hospital. The hospital disaster plan was activated and patients and staff were evacuated. There were 83 patients in the ward and 23 were transferred to Botsabo District Hospital. The remaining were temporarily removed to Gateway Clinic, from where they will be taken to Universitas Academic Hospital, Pelonomi Tertiary Hospital and MUCPP. Patients are prioritized in line with the needs of the continuous care in line with their various ailments, said Vambi. No one died or got injured as a result of this fire. All persons inside the hospital were accounted for. The cause of the fire is unknown. In Limpopo, criminals broke into several schools and stole valuable items before setting one of the schools on fire. According to Colonel Malesela Lendwaba, the incident happened at Blinkwater, Gidela Secondary School and the nearby villages. In our next story, booing to plead guilty to avoid trial over fatal 737 MAX crashes. Boeing has agreed to plead guilty to fraud to avoid going to trial in the United States on charges stemming from two fatal crashes involving 737 MAX. Under the plea deal, Boeing would pay a fine of $443.6 million and be required to invest at least $445 million in its compliance and safety programs, the U.S. Department for Justice said in a court filing on Sunday. The aircraft giant would also agree to be subject to a third party's monitor's assessment of its safety and quality procedures for 3 years. We can confirm that we have reached an agreement in principles on terms of a resolution with the Justice Department, subject to the memorialization and approval of specific terms, Boeing said in a statement. The plea agreement announced on Sunday only relates to Boeing capabilities in relation to the 737 MAX crashes in 2019 and 2018, not the incidents that raise questions about the company's safety standards, including the mid-flight blowout of Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 in January. The deal, which requires the approval of the federal judge, also only covers the corporation of Boeing, not any current or former employees. Boeing's guilty plea could potentially cost the company's government contract that accounts for about 40% of the revenues, as U.S. agencies can use a criminal conviction as grounds to exclude the bidder. After the break, we return where we will be talking about the early diagnosis of HIV. Stay with us.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Diagnosed with HIV at the age of 8, Brendan's medication suddenly stopped working when he was in high school. Eventually, he was diagnosed with drug-resistant HIV and transitioned into second-line treatment. Today, he is an advocate for timely diagnosis of infections, as well as taking antimicrobials for the right cause. Now, antimicrobials resistance occurs when bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites no longer respond to antimicrobial medicine like antibiotics. The World Health Organization's AMR is invisible, and I'm not campaigning puts advocates like Brendan front at the center to share their stories, raise awareness, and urge action to address AMR. Have a look.
AMR is a phenomenon when medicines fail to treat infections. I have lived with HIV my whole life, but it's not HIV that I'm worried about. It's what follows when medicines that are supposed to treat infections fail to do so. I was diagnosed with HIV at the age of 8, and back then I was still a kid. I didn't know much about HIV, but what I remember is my mother telling me to take my pills every day, and I kept taking my pill every single day. When I got to high school now, I discovered that a lot of people didn't take HIV to be a normal thing. They didn't take it to be a normal infection. There was a lot of stigmatization, and people would be insensitive when talking about this topic, so it was very uncomfortable. When I realized that the medicines that were supposed to treat me, the medicines that were supposed to make me feel better, didn't work, I was so confused. I was thinking about it all the time, and I started to isolate myself, because honestly, what would you do if the medicines that are supposed to treat you stop working? I'm now a pharmacist, and I've managed to learn a lot about AMR through my studies and the importance of medicines in our everyday life. It is important to share my story because I always think of the younger generations, the kids that are growing up just like me, Being little kids, they may not know much about the consequences of not taking their medicines or the consequences of AMR. I strongly feel that there is need for advocacy in terms of timely diagnosis of infections, as well as taking antibiotics or antimicrobials for the right cause, so that we don't end up in a situation where medicines fail to treat infections. AMR is happening now. It happened to me. It can happen to you. So there is need to raise awareness and let people know of this topic.
Let us have a look at the weather predictions for today. Here are our economic news for this morning. South Africa's energy chief seeks nod for nuclear plant, and this is according to Times. South Africa's energy minister plans to secure funding approval sooner for a 2,500 megawatts nuclear power plant in its efforts to increase electricity supplies, the local Sunday Times reported. Work has reached an advanced stage, and a team is working on a deal and finalizing the procurement structure for the project. Energy and Electricity Minister Kgoigentsho Ramakgopa told the Johannesburg newspaper. Ramakgopa hopes the nation's treasury will sign off on the plans next month. A site is yet to be confirmed and various technical details will still be ironed out. The proposed power station would be bigger than Koeberg plant north of Cape Town, which is South Africa's only nuclear power plant and generates 1,940 megawatts of energy. The latest nuclear technology is very rapid to deploy, relatively cheaper and more efficient, Ramakgopa told the newspaper. State Power Utility Eskom Holding SOC Ltd has struggled for years to adequately supply electricity to South Africans from its aging fleet of generation facilities, with problems exacerbated by mismanagement and corruption. In our next story, Samsung Electronics workers strike as union voice grows in South Korea. Samsung Electronic workers began a 3-day strike for better pay on Monday, with their union pointing to further action should South Korea's biggest conglomerate continue to fall short of its demand. The National Samsung Electronics Union, whose roughly 30,000 members make up almost a quarter of the firm's South Korean workforce, also wants an extra day of annual leave for unnoticed workers and changes to the employees' bonus system. Low participation and automated production means the strike is unlikely to have a significant impact on output at the world's biggest memory chip maker, analysts said. Still, it signals a decline in staff morale at a pivotal point in the chip industry as tech firm embraces artificial intelligence intelligence. The union's first industrial action last month involved coordinating annual leave to stage a mass walkout, which Samsung said had no impact on business activities. And now let's look at the economic indicators.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with cycling news first. Tour de France, that's got a rest day on Monday, and already 9 stages that's done. It is still Tadej Pogačar that is the leader. What happened on the third stage is exciting. They call it the gravel stage. They on gravel roads at some stages of that stage, and it was Anthony Turcos of France that won the stage. It was a sprint till the end, and it was his first ever win of the Tour de France Tour, and it was in second place Thomas Pidcock, and it was a close win for Turcos, but well done on his first win. It is a rest day, like I said, on Monday. On a Tuesday, it will be a flat stage. It will be from Orleans to Saint Armand, and it will be 187 kilometers. On Wednesday, it will again be a difficult mountain stage for the Tour de France that continues. On to Wimbledon. It is week 2 of Wimbledon, and the news from the women's section is that many of the top seeds are out of the tournament, and it is still round of 16 games played on the women's side of the draw. It is the highest seed in the tournament, number 4, Elena Rybakina. She will play against Anna Kaliskaya. She is the 17th seed. That's in round of 16th, and it is also good news for Julia Putintseva. She beat the number 1 seed Iga Swiatek earlier on the weekend, and she will now play the 13th seed Yelena Ostapenko. It is Julia Putintseva that is unseeded in the tournament. And to conclude today's international sports news, it is golf news. It is from the men's PGA in America. It is the John Deere Classic that was concluded, and the winner there was Davis Thompson. He's a 25-year-old from America, and he won on a total of 28 under par. He closed with a round of 64, that is 7 under par, and he was 4 shots better than C.T. Pan, one of the players, on 24 under par. Good news for Davis Thompson. It's his first PGA Tour, but he also secured a debut entrance into the British Open. That's the next major on the men's calendar tour, and that will be from the 18th to the 21st of July. That will be played at Royal Troon. Also good news for C.T. Pan with his second place, a joint second place. He had the higher ranking on the world ranking, so he also qualified for the British Open. C.T. Pan is from Chinese Taipei, and his score was 24 under par for second place. Southern African interest, that was the only one South African that qualified or did make the cut. That was Dylan Fratelli, and Dylan Fratelli closed with a -9, or his score was -9 for the 4 rounds, 52nd overall. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee, and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country.
Thank you very much for watching our show this morning. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.